Paul wrote to the church in Corinth and said, God is not a God of confusion, but of peace, right? 1 Corinthians 14.
Right.
But that said, people's idea of what Christianity is seems to be just about as confusing as anything can get.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, if you were to ask 1,000 Christians what Christianity is, you'd probably get 1,010 answers.
Yeah, it's true.
All right? The World Christian Encyclopedia, which has been published by Oxford University Press in 2001, counted 33,820 different denominations in 238 countries. Well, it was typically the differences in practices and belief that led to that division, that gross division.
Mm-hmm.
And it all too often led to adversarial relations between those different groups. I mean, in some cases, it literally led to war between them, right? So, which one of those denominations would we say to the world represents what Christianity truly is? Okay, you want to answer that question? You're on dangerous ground. Okay.
I just got a question.
Yeah.
We just finished a study in the book of Revelation studying the 7 churches. Were those denominations? Because each one of those had a personality.
Yeah, no, they're not denominations. Okay, they're all one church. All right.
But the 7 different locations.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and that's why typically in scriptures it talks about a church at this place, not of that place. We're to be in the world, but not of it. It's not. You know what it is that we are the. You know what? Paul wrote to the church in Ephesus, and he said, there is one body, one Spirit, just as also you were called in one hope of your calling. There is one Lord, one faith, one baptism. There's only one church.
Only one.
And do I need to tell you that Paul also wrote, inspired by the Holy Spirit of God, let there be no division among you. How important is that? Well, I'm going to sidetrack myself as usual a little bit, but I do want to say this. Years ago, I was over and I was speaking to a large group of pastors in Yaoundé, Cameroon. That's the capital of Cameroon. Mm-hmm. And I was there speaking to, I don't remember, 100 pastors. And they had been gathered from all over Africa and some from Europe and actually some from the Caribbean. And we had been there for 5 nights and I had been talking to them. And this was the last night. And the following day they were going to be flying back to wherever they had come from or going back however they came. And it just struck me as I was talking to them. And I said, these are all pastors. These are all men of God, all right? I said to them, I want you to take 1 second and just think about what has been on your mind. What have you been seriously praying about? What have you been, what have you been praying for most sincerely? Crying out to God most importantly about. And I asked them to think about that. And I said, well, stop and let me just ask you a question now. I said, suppose you had revelation from God, from the Holy Spirit, and you knew without doubt, without fail, that you would not reach home tomorrow. That tomorrow would be the last day that you would ever spend on earth. Suppose you knew if God spoke to you and told you, this is it, tomorrow it ends for you. How would that affect what you're praying for?
I think drastically.
Well, I've been blessed to be in that kind of position once where I thought it was all over when, I got hit by a speeding semi-truck down in Central America. And as I lay there, I was on foot and I got hit by a speeding semi-truck. And I was fairly certain at that time that it was over.
You're going to see Jesus.
And all of a sudden, a lot of things in my life that I haven't, just didn't seem quite so important. It kind of focuses your prayer life. I think Winston Churchill once said, there's nothing like getting shot at to focus you. Think about that just for a second. And then I want to call to your mind, that's exactly where Jesus Christ was. The night that he went into the garden, he knew it's over. The time has come. It was the appointed time. And he went into the garden and he prayed. And what did he pray for? He prayed that we would be one.
Unity.
So how important is that? Well, study the Word and you'll find that it's very important. And you will find by observing the church that it is very rare indeed to find that kind of unity in the church. But he's coming back for a bride without spot or wrinkle, and it's going to happen. It may happen with us kicking and screaming, but you know, it says the effective prayer of a righteous man availeth much, and Jesus prayed we would be one. We will be one.